What's up? Oh, what's up?
Yo, what up? It's Amaje back in another video. Today we're about to be reacting to Andrew Tate. I guess the video is titled We Need to Talk About Andrew Tate. Bro, tell me why this nigga got like humiliated along with Jake Paul in in the span of a few days actually, which is like a whole Christmas miracle. Like, I got tired of like the whole red pill shit over the time, but like slowly it means nothing now ever since this nigga got embarrassed. He got embarrassed by a reality TV star. That's probably been like, he's not even good at boxing. You see those punches that he was throwing? But let's get into the video.
Fellas, now Andrew Tate just faced off against Chase DeMoor in what was one of the biggest aura gambles of all time. His brand has been built upon him being the top G, previous world champion kickboxer, so after his rise to fame he wanted to re-enter the world of combat sports, and Misfits boxing gave him the platform to do so. On paper, this should have been an easy fight for him, which would lead to huge opportunities down the line, yet for Tate, this fight went almost as bad as it possibly could. So after this defeat, I want to break down how this fight came about, what happened in the fight itself, and most importantly, where does he go now after what many would see as a pretty embarrassing defeat? Now Tate, love or hate him, kinda was always destined to enter the realm of influence of boxing. A huge part of his brand has always been about fighting, and all of his past bouts really happened before the fame, so it was only a matter of time until we saw him back in the ring. We most likely would have seen it sooner, maybe against Jake Paul like it was teased, if it wasn't for his ongoing legal proceedings, but a respite in court dates and a lift on a travel ban has allowed him to finally.
I'm not gonna lie. Seeing how he going against this guy, Jake Paul would have probably fucked that nigga up. Like, say what you want about Jake Paul, he's pretty brave to get in that ring, and he's been knocking out people back and forth. But to like this nigga, I I shook my head. I put my hand on my head because like how humiliating that like that bout was. He was all bruised up. Like, why are you bruised up from a reality star?
Enter the ring. I would have expected him honestly to host his own promotion, but with KSI seemingly stepping back from boxing, the management of Misfits went looking for new major stars, and seemingly they decided to put their bet on Tate. Tate took the deal that was offered, became the apparent CEO, and the stage was set for a seemingly long reign. All he had to do now was get through Chase DeMoor. Now, Chase is known by the broader boxing community as the bloke from these clips, although prior to boxing he was most known by his appearance in the reality show Too Hot to Handle. He crossed into the influencer boxing world and ever since has always been a bit of a meme. The main reason Tate chose to fight him was because he held the Misfits heavyweight title, and after watching his previous fights, on paper, it should have been a fairly easy night for Tate. Although it would prove to be anything but. From the opening bell, it was clear both lacked boxing fundamentals. Tate was more aggressive in the opening round, but even then, he really struggled to land anything. His use of the jab early looked decent, but it was quickly evident he wasn't much quicker in the speed department than DeMoor, while also his karate low hand sort of stance left him pretty open. Although once upon a time it did work for him in kickboxing, add 10 years, more muscle mass and less speed, and it's a bit of a recipe for disaster. Round
I'm just wondering, did these fools even practice for this bout? Well, probably Andrew Tate specifically, because they literally just mentioned that I guess this Chase DeMoor guy's a champion somehow. Well, who is he fighting? I thought that Scam Likely guy was in this Misfit boxing thing. He needs to hurry up and go after this championship because Scam Likely, he honestly could box. But Andrew Tate, did this nigga even like train for this?
2, we saw more of the same, yet this was the round the clinching really started. Tate probably won these opening 2 rounds, but after this, it was all downhill for him. From this point, it was the battle of fatigue, and for Andrew, he was certainly losing that battle. In round 3, Chase really started to utilise the clinch to his advantage, piling his weight on Tate to further tire him out, which allowed Chase to land massively telegraphed looping uppercuts, which hurt Tate. The rest of the fight was just more of the same, 90% clinching and 10% Chase landing something. Tate really had no answer, and by the end of the fight looked pretty battered and bruised. The self-proclaimed top G that many thought would show up and show out didn't. Tate ended up losing on points, and outside of being knocked out, this was the absolute worst case scenario for him. As I said earlier, it was an all-time aura gamble, and losing against a reality star who has been previously mocked by the wider boxing community doesn't really do wonders for him. Although, I wouldn't say I'm a fan of the bloke, the one thing I do give him respect for is seemingly taking the loss on the chin. He made no massive excuses, and in the post-fight presser gave Chase his credit. Unlike other big influencers who have tantrums after losing points decisions, he took the loss on the chin and gave his opponent respect, which was a pleasant surprise.
I mean, I guess that's kind of respectable and good, but at least, oh yeah, all of these red pill niggas, all these people that subscribe to his little sites and courses have better be unsubscribed and better be clowning this nigga because they were defending this nigga so like gradually throughout the years saying like, oh yeah, he's a top G. You calling another man a top G is crazy, bro. I do not understand that, how people can just glaze one person for that long. Well, yeah, I guess.
This loss does leave him in a bit of a pickle though. Where does he go from here? Well, I think win or lose, his time in the influencer boxing game would have been limited anyway. His legal troubles would have made his influencer boxing career simply difficult. Even if he gets let off the Romanian judicial control without getting charged, the UK wants to eventually extradite him, and even if he beats all of those potential charges, bottom line, it's gonna take up a lot of his time, which makes it hard for him to be consistent in the ring. I would have assumed to deal with this uncertainty that their plan would have been have this fight then go on to something mega. But this performance really has.
I mean, now that he's like saying and giving like reasons why he probably couldn't box, it all makes sense if you think of it. I'm not giving this nigga excuses, but you're dealing with all this legal stuff, probably stress on your mind, and your psyche, and every little person's probably like, dog piling you saying you're going to prison. But for years, this shit has been going on. But I know I kind of understand.
Killed all momentum and hype around this combat sports journey of his now. If he fights again, it simply won't have the same sort of hype around it. And if he does take another fight, I don't want to see him fight at heavyweight. As you get older, you do naturally put on more weight. Primarily, he used to fight at light heavyweight, and really he shouldn't have jumped up to heavyweight for his first fight back. I understand it because that's where the biggest fights are, but really his style depends on his speed and reactions, and I think the weight was a real factor in slowing him down. Whilst, additionally, I can now see why the Till fight wasn't made immediately, because simply Tate wasn't ready. Honestly, overall, I don't see how he carves a path in this influencer sphere moving forwards. I don't think he would be really competitive in any of the big fights which could have been made. Paul, Fury, Till, none of those fights make sense now, and what wouldn't surprise me is if he ends up fighting somebody like Mayweather, but even then I don't really want to see that. I get that he will eventually want to try avenge his loss, but say if he stays with Misfits, find the dregs of their roster to try and make a comeback, I don't think it will be worth his time. Tate's fighting days, in my opinion, should be behind him. Although he was once quite a high-level kickboxer, time catches up to all of us. Although, after a lot of talking for all these years, I think we all expected a lot more from him. On the other hand,
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I really kind of expected more from him, from all those little training sessions that he always had. But like you said before, like everybody says, literally training versus fighting a person is way different.
Chase has put himself in a fantastic position. He pulled off the mega upset, and now most likely will have some mega opportunities ahead. You gotta give him his flowers. He did in the post-fight interview call out Tommy Fury, and honestly that could go down. Fury seems to not want to fight anyone vaguely close to his level, so Chase probably fits the bill as a potential comeback fight for him. Where Misfits boxing also goes from here will be also interesting. Tate was their ticket back to real relevance, but after this loss, I'm not sure how the promotion will reach the heights it once had. The Prime card was an example of influencer boxing at its best. But with the cards now filled with influencers who aren't known to the casual punter, you do question where does the show go now. KSI doesn't seem to want to box anymore, Logan is wrestling, Tate's future is uncertain, and Fury doesn't seem keen to jump in the ring at all. So you're kind of left with Darren Till and Fox the G. Like the current roster, you aren't going to get those mega events that we were once used to. But who knows? KSI could come back, they could all of a sudden sign some other big names, and only time.
But like I said, this whole thing was just underwhelming, bro. I expected way more from this Andrew Tate fight. I expected him to, do what he said he was gonna do all those years ago. But like he said, Father Time catches up to you, and you going without decent or really good practice for a long time is really gonna hurt you, especially switching from, I guess, kickboxing to boxing is really hard still. Probably if you were a younger talent you could do that, but this nigga is just done. I swear, I feel like I just do not want to hear him talk no more shit about other boxers and everything. I mean, I'm pretty sure him and KSI will be a pretty good match, because I'm sorry, KSI cannot box. But if you guys enjoyed that reaction and you guys want to see me react to more internet stuff going around, like and subscribe. We on the road to 250, and I'm out.